Hello and welcome to the Autocar show. Now it really doesn't get bigger than this. And I'm not referring to the waterfall behind me. In fact, I'm talking about a compact car. So why am I saying big? Well, because this one has been busting the charts for a very long time. I'm talking about the Alto. Now it's been attacked from all sides, from the bottom by the likes of the Nano, from the top by the likes of the Eon, but the Alto has stood its ground, firmly remaining in the top position. Well, it's been around a long while, it's getting a little long in the tooth, and Maruti have decided to give it a fresh new lease of life in the form of the new Alto 800. Will it be able to remain a top seller? That's what we're going to find out. The compact dimensions, the high-mounted headlights and the thick C-pillar at the rear of the car tell you this is an Alto instantly. It uses the same old platform and has the same wheelbase, but it's taller and the body is entirely new, opening up more space on the inside. The front is pretty striking with the bulging petal-shaped headlamps, the snub nose that makes parking easy, and the open-mouthed look with the new two-part grille. There's a hint of a chin spoiler and the wheel arches are mildly flared as well. Along the side, the roof tilts up and then swoops down to the rear quite dramatically. The character lines across the doors add appeal, and the mix of concave and convex surfaces bring freshness. The rear is finished off nicely with the petal-shaped tail lamps and a convex portion on the hatch with the big chrome badge. What makes the car look a bit awkward from some angles, however, is the massive ground clearance, something that just doesn't sit well with the compact dimensions. However, overall, the Alto looks quite appealing now and much more with the times. It's a simple design, but done deliberately so, to make it longer lasting. Well, at first glance, the interior looks much nicer, quality looks better, central console has a nice chrome accent. I like these new rotary vents, power window switches have been shifted to the central console. In fact, a lot has been done to open up space. Maruti engineers tell me they've kept the door pad slim, the seat back slim, to open up a lot of space on the inside, give more room. Headroom, as you can see by the shape, has increased. But let's see what it's done for the leg room. Well, definitely more space at the rear over here, but it's still quite a cramped back seat. Feels a bit narrow on the inside. We'll have to do a back-to-back to see how it compares with the competitors. But what's also practical is, with the legroom at the rear, you also get a decent amount of boot space. You can put a couple of small trolleys in here or some shopping bags. You can flip down the rear seats and open up more space if you need it. On the interior, the dash has also moved more into this millennium. It looks less outdated than before, although it still uses the old-style AC knobs. There is a central binnacle for the AC vents and two additional rotary vents on the side. A single meter in the instrument panel and the three-spoke steering add a nice touch. The music system we had on the top end was a bit fidgety to use, with all the markings being too small and barely visible. The buttons were also minute and difficult to see. Apart from that, the rest of the Alto is pretty practical. Despite being a small car, the Alto still finds quite a lot of room for storage. You can fit a 1-liter bottle, although horizontally, in the central console. There's a glove box and an open slot on top of it for knickknacks. The top-end variant gets power steering, remote hatch opener, remote fuel lid, power front windows, manually adjustable ORVMs and digital clock, in addition to styling accents. You can also opt for an airbag at an extra cost. Under the hood, the Alto uses the tried and tested F8D engine it always had, but with quite a few tweaks to give it added power, torque and efficiency. Feel the improvements to the engine out on the road. It revs more freely than before. It's less thrashy at the top end. There is still, however, that jerkiness at lower RPMs. But fact remains is that this engine is very, very drivable. You can be a really lazy driver, put it into third gear, amble around at lower RPMs, and then without shifting down, put your foot down on the accelerator, and it still gets a move on really comfortably. And that's the beauty of this engine. It just makes driving so easy. Whilst it is at its comfortable best ambling around in the city, it doesn't really feel out of breath on the highway too. The Alto gets up to the 100 mark without a fuss and cruises at around 120 quite comfortably. The gear shift has also been improved. It's now a cable shift and feels much better than before. All the changes and the work done to keep the car light have made the car more fuel efficient as well. The company figure of 22.7 kilometers per litre makes it about 15% more efficient than its predecessor. They will also be offering CNG variants for those who want the extra savings. On the dynamics, though the same suspension is carried through, the structure to the car has been stiffened and there have been modifications for rigidity as well. The steering is light and easy in the city, it's very convenient for parking. But out on the country back roads like I am now, I find that feedback has improved and it feels better than before. Despite the improvements, the steering still feels a little soggy around dead center, and the car doesn't feel its best when you corner hard. But then the people who buy this car are not looking to do that. They want a city runabout, and this does the job extremely well. The Alto's ride may be a bit choppy at higher speeds, but it does really well when you're sort of ambling around in the city at the lower speeds. It irons out all the sharper ridges, it has a nice pliant edge over the bumps and potholes. In fact, the low-speed ride is pretty impressive. The prices will be announced the 16th of this month, but we assume the price to be around 3,15,000 for a base aircon-equipped version. Well, the new Alto 800 is improved in almost every direction. It looks now from the current millennium. The interiors are refreshed and much nicer. It's more spacious, it's got more power. Like I said, it's improved in almost every direction. It does carry over a few of faults from the predecessor. Despite the additional space in the back seat, it's still a little bit cramped, and of course it's not as crash safe as its more contemporary competitors. But fact remains is this is still a very practical car. It's convenient, it's easy to use, it's well priced, and as a first car, it just fits the bill perfectly. Well, with its new fresh looks, it's got more appeal, and we think that the Alto 800 has got what it takes to remain at the top for yet another generation.